Hello guys, welcome to Dead in the Dawn. It's week 3 in the NFL and Maca is here once again to bring you previews and score predictions from all of this week's matches. If you do enjoy the content in this video today, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and leave a comment. We will get back to each and every one of you. We really appreciate all the support we get and it really does help out the channel. So now that's out of the way, I'll get you started by handing you over to Maca, who's ready and waiting with his first prediction. Enjoy, guys.
Good afternoon, Phil. Cheers for having me again. Week 3's upon us, so let's get cracking. The Thursday night game takes us to San Francisco. They are hosting the New York Giants. New York Giants have just come off a very, very hard-fought win, left it very late against Arizona. Should have been in that situation, but the win's a win. You got to give Daniel Jones, Barkley, and the Giants' defense, especially in the second half, a lot of credit for shutting out Arizona. San Francisco, on the other hand, had a hard-fought win against the Rams. Didn't have it all their own way. The defense looked pretty exploited at times to Matt Stafford, which was pretty unexpected. But in the end, they pulled away and won quite comfortably, really. My thought and prediction for the game, I believe San Fran are going to run the Giants ragged. We know that Barkley's doubtful. I can't imagine him playing after that sprained ankle. I think it's going to be an easy day for San Francisco. I think Daniel Jones is going to be in for a very long night. There's going to be a lot of sacks, a couple of turnovers, but I see this being quite a comfortable win for San Fran. You know, at the moment, they look fantastic, don't they? They've got weapons throughout. A little bit of concern. I'm not sure if Brandon Ayuk's going to play or not, but they've got Debo Samuel, McCaffrey, Kittle, and the defense is superb. So my prediction for the game is going to be a comfortable 24-10 win to San Francisco. The first of the 6 p.m. games take us to Indianapolis at Baltimore. The traveling team, Indianapolis, very, very impressive result away at Houston. Anthony Richardson, before he got a concussion, looked fantastic. 2 rushing touchdowns. They've got decent backup quarterback and guard. Minshew's very, very capable. They got the 2-3 score leads, and they were pretty comfortable throughout. We don't know yet again if Anthony Richardson's going to be out this week. This is recording on Wednesday, so I'd imagine they're going to take precaution, obviously being a concussion, so we'll have to wait and see how that. Baltimore, on the other hand, fantastic start to the season. They thoroughly deserved their win in Cincinnati. I thought they controlled the game from start to finish. And I was quite impressed with Lamar Jackson. I'm not his biggest fan. Obviously, my biggest criticism for him last week in the video was he's thrown, and he looked exceptional. Is it more the fact that Joe Burrow's been struggling and that made Baltimore look good? I'm not sure. But we're talking Baltimore here. You got to give them their dues. Lamar Jackson looked fantastic. The defense will causing Joe Burrow problems throughout. And they finally deserve their win. My thoughts on the game, Indianapolis going into Baltimore. Again, we're not sure on the Anthony Richardson status, but regardless of him playing or not, I can see quite a comfortable win for Baltimore. I don't think it's going to be very, very high scoring at all. I think Baltimore saw a game where they're going to run the ball a lot, going to drain a lot of the clock. We use Gus Edwards and Hill and Jackson. Obviously, quick point, obviously Odell Beckham did leave the game, but obviously they've still got other weapons. Very, very capable tight end in Mark Andrews. But my prediction for the game will be Baltimore are going to win 27-10. I think they're going to be too comfortable. Again, it's a very hard place to go to, Baltimore. Harbaug's a fantastic coach, but it's going to be a tough day for Indianapolis. So my final score is Baltimore 27, Indianapolis 10. We now turn our attention to Tennessee at Cleveland. The visitors, Tennessee, have just come off a hard-fought win, overtime win against the Chargers. Thoroughly deserved. Didn't get the ball, first of all, in overtime. Herbert 3 and out. Tennessee got the ball, drove downfield, field goal range, done, dusted. Fair play to Variable, fair play to Tannehill, Henry, Hopkins, and the crew. Fantastic. Cleveland, on the other hand, I'd love to know everyone's opinions if you're listening to this about Deshaun Watson, because I'm just not sold on the guy. The contract was ridiculous. Cleveland have done this in the past. We know, probably not a surprise, but he looked awful, didn't he? Just without Chubb now as well. Cleveland fans, are you listening? Are you concerned? I'd love to know your thoughts. Where'd you go from here? Granted, he's still got a great defense with a fantastic defensive coordinator in Jim Swartz. Can they carry the team for a while? This is now where Deshaun Watson has to show. He has to show up now for this team. The next 2 or 3 weeks and make a break for his career, in my opinion. But we're made to be seen. My thoughts on the game: it's going to be very, very tough, nervy, defensive affair. I don't see much running in this game. I just see a lot of the clock going down. I just see a lot of punts. Not a very good game to watch if you're neutral. But I'm really going to go Cleveland. They're going to nick this one. Again, it's just a game that just doesn't look great on paper. Could say that's a game of the week. Who knows? But my prediction for the game is going to be Cleveland 16, Tennessee 10. We now travel over to Ford Field. The Detroit Lions are hosting the Atlanta Falcons. Some could argue be one of the top 3 games of the week. I'm certainly looking forward to this. The visitors, Atlanta, 2-0. Who would have thought? Desmond Ridder. Well, take a bow. Bijan Robinson, Algier, Pitts, London. They're moving 2-0. Granted, got away with it against Green Bay. They were behind all the game except when Koo kicked the winning field goal, but they won. And here's a good fact for you, which I never knew. Desmond Ridder has never been beaten at home, including NFL and college. So that's a fact to think about moving forward, especially when they're at home. But fantastic 2-0. Well done. Detroit Lions, what are you doing? Seattle Seahawks. Metcalf missed most of the game. Geno Smith, he made your defense look like a 32 ranked defense. What was that? Poor. Jared Goff's obviously throwing streak ended with that interception, but got to give him credit. Got you back into the game, obviously taking you to overtime. Unfortunately, get the ball. Slight concern for the defense. And this was my argument against Kansas. I think Kansas dropping the ball more than the defense playing well, and I think this is going to be a problem for Detroit again moving forward this year. But they've got the offensive power; they can blow teams out. So I think Detroit fans are going to be in for exciting, again, long point season, loads of points in much of your games. So, yeah, don't panic yet. I think you're okay. Just got to tweak a couple of things. My prediction for the game at Ford Field. Sorry, Atlanta fans. I'm going to just go for a Detroit win here. I think you'll be entertaining. I think you're going to keep yourself in the game. But all my is Detroit going to have too much. I'm going to go for Detroit 30, Atlanta 24. We now turn our attentions to Green Bay hosting the Saints. The visiting team Saints 2-0. Hard-fought victory away at Carolina. Derek Carr didn't look sure at times. Need to get the ball utilised to Chris Olave, the wide receiving core, a bit more, get the ball in his hands. Yes, I've only played 2 competitive games with each other. They're 2-0, but I'm worried that if teams are going to start scoring on them, do they have the power to keep in touch? But, 2-0, fair play, they move on. Green Bay Packers, well, a heartbreaking loss that was. A last-minute field goal, led the whole way. Very, very disappointing if you're a Packer fan. Love showed at times decent. Showed decent throws in the pocket. He looked pretty decent, but ultimately fell a bit short there. But Green Bay fans, if you're listening, how do you feel about the Jordan Love situation? How are you finding him so far? I'd really like to know your thoughts. Obviously, when you've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers over the years, obviously Jordan Love's a different sort of quarterback to them. But yeah, I'd like to know your views. My thoughts on this game: it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight one. But I'm going to favour Jordan Love's first competitive home game of the season to the Lambeau Field faithful. I think they're going to get behind the team. I think Derek Carr's going to be stacked quite a lot in this game. Again, I don't think it's going to be very, very high scoring, but I feel that the Packers are going to have enough to win the game. So my final score is going to be Green Bay 20, New Orleans 17. We now turn our attention to the Houston Texans travelling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston Texans have just come off a very disappointing home loss to the Indianapolis Colts. It was battle of the rookies, Richardson v. Stroud. Richardson won the game pretty much within playing less than half. And Houston were very, very disappointing. Although Stroud again was throwing quite a lot of balls. I don't know what to make of that situation at the moment. Granted, they did have a few injuries on the offensive line. CJ Stroud was hurried pretty much throughout much of that game, but can only be good for his development, I suppose. The home team Jacksonville Jaguars, what was that? Everyone tipped up this Kansas Jacksonville being sort of the game of the week, the highest scoring game of the week, including myself, and that was a stinker. My question to the people that are listening, if you've got this far, please would like to know your thoughts. What do you think of Trevor Lawrence? For me, I don't rate him. My concerns have been, I'd say, proven in terms of he overthrows the ball. He doesn't make the right decisions. I mean, they scored 9 points at home to the Kansas City Chiefs, who were tipped to be one of the top 5 to 10 worst defenses this year, and you're at home. Surely, Jacksonville fans, there's got to be a concern there moving forward. I'd love to know your views. Look at the firepower they've got, the wide receivers, the running backs, the defense. Yes, it's a little bit concerning at times, but what do you guys think? Please let me know. Right, my prediction for the game, how much as I was bashing him there, I do believe Jacksonville are going to win comfortably. This could be a get-right game for Trevor Lawrence and co. CJ Stroud, he could be in for a long day, this one. I do believe Jacksonville is going to score quite a few points this one, so I'm going to go for a 28-17 result to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We now travel over to Miami, who are hosting the Denver Broncos. Traveling team, the Broncos, another dramatic loss, shall we say. You were 21-3 up, comfortably cruising, and then Wilson fumbles the ball. Then Washington looked like world beaters. They looked unstoppable. Took the leads. Granted, that was fun at the end with obviously the Wilson Hail Mary. That was cool. Ultimately, had to go for that 2-point conversion and didn't get it. Another loss. They're 2 home games in a row now. They've lost. So very, very disappointing there for the Broncos fans. Miami Dolphins, on the other hand, look very, very impressive. Not an easy place to go to away at Gillette Stadium, Bill Belichick and crew. And Tua composed again. He looks fantastic, doesn't he? Miami could be one of these dark horses for the Super Bowl this year, guys. I really, really believe that. The firepower they've got with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mo Star's looking fantastic, running back. The defense is looking good. They're getting to the quarterback. They're looking good. Could this be an all-round team? Could this be should we say, the dark horses of this season? I don't know. I'd love to know your views. But they do look impressive. And Tua, very, very clean in the pocket. Looks fantastic. Knows when to get the ball out. Knows when to use Tyreek Hill. Waddle, the speed. Fantastic. They look very, very, very good. My thoughts for the game at Miami, Denver struggling. I think there's only going to be one result. I think Russell Wilson's going to be in for a long night with the defense. I think he's going to get sacked quite a bit. My worry for Russell Wilson is not getting the ball out quick enough. That's going to give Miami defense and the linebackers plenty of time to get stuck into him. And I think it's going to be quite a comfortable day for Miami. So my final result is going to be Miami 28, Denver 13. We now travel with the LA Chargers over to the Minnesota Vikings. Both teams start the season 0-2. Arguably, could say 2 of the biggest underachievers so far this year. Let's first talk about the visitors. I'm going to make this point clear. Brandon Staley's in big trouble at the moment. For the firepower, especially the offense they've got, they're not performing. They're losing games they shouldn't. And I feel if they lose this game, I think he could be the first head coach to be sacked. Come off a very, very disappointing overtime loss to the Tennessee Titans. They had the ball 3 and out from Herbert, Tennessee, using Derrick Henry, got down into field goal range, won the game. Another very, very disappointing loss for the Chargers. Minnesota, on the other hand, they look very inconsistent. To make of them, obviously losing to Tampa week 1, it was a hard place to go to. Philly week 2, they fell just short, but they started season 0-2. Is concerning a competitive group they've got. They're trailing behind already. My thoughts for the game is, I feel that both offenses are capable of scoring 30-plus points. I do believe this is going to be the case. Both defenses concern me. And I just think whoever's going to have the ball last is going to win the game. I really feel it's going to be that case. And for that, I'm going to favour the home team, the Vikings, being at home. I think it's going to be game of the week. I think it's going to be very, very high scoring. But unfortunately for Brandon Staley, Norton freezes the end. I don't know. But my final prediction is Minnesota, in a very, very entertaining game, are going to win 33-30. From the highest scoring game of the week to probably the lowest scoring game of the week. It is the New England Patriots travelling to the New York Jets. This is going to be a stinker of a game. Visiting team, the Patriots, 0-2. They come off a very, very disappointing group loss to the Miami Dolphins. I thought they were dominated throughout, but I will give Mac Jones a bit of credit. He looks like he's improving under Bill O'Brien. He looks more assured. Remember, they did turn over the ball at important times. But Miami, they did look comfortable, didn't they, throughout? But, with Bill O'Brien, I think Mac Jones will improve. But granted, 0-2 is not a great start in that competitive division they're in. Jets, on the other hand, obviously beating Buffalo Bills week one with the Aaron Rodgers sort of trauma, should we call it, and then coming to my Cowboys and getting absolutely annihilated and showing Zach Wilson what he's truly like. He's obviously average, he's poor, I can't imagine him being a starting quarterback for much more this game. After this game, maybe one more game, I don't know. Jets fans, I'd love to know what you think with the defense you've got and the offensive weapons. I like to them to use Breece Hall more. Granted, they're in a mess at the moment. But my thoughts for the game, this is going to be some stinker of a game. Very, very low scoring. A lot of defense, a lot of sacks, a lot of punts, time off the clock. I'm going to go for the away team. I can't have any trust in Zach Wilson, unfortunately. I'm going to go into the Jets. They're going to nick it, and it's going to be 13-10. So the final score will be the New England Patriots 13, the New York Jets 10. The final of the early kickoffs is the Buffalo Bills traveling to the Washington Commanders. Both teams coming off a win, both impressive fashion, I must admit. First, we talk about the Buffalo Bills. Single-handedly destroyed the Raiders. This was a get-right game for Josh Allen. And I think what I saw watching that, they're not making him take too many risks. If you look at the throws he did, they were just nice, short yardage, just get the ball out of the hands. He looked comfortable. He looked assured. He looked good. The running game looked fantastic. They demolished them. The defense looked awesome too. So is this what we're going to see more often this season with the Bills? If so, they looked impressive. People say it's only the Raiders, but you can only beat what's in front of you. They've just lost to the Jets, who just got pumped to the Cowboys. So, I was impressed. More to come for them. I'd like to see Josh Allen be more composed in that pocket. Certainly like he was on this weekend just gone. Washington Commanders, a lot of credit. They were 21-3 down against Denver, and I really thought that's it, done and dusted. Again, I slated off Sam Howell. Could put my hands up. Made a mistake with that one. He looked fantastic, didn't he? Going to Denver a mile high is not an easy place to go to regardless. And he looked fantastic. Throw balls coming out. Is this area B-enemy connection with him working? He sure looks like it. And they look good. Robinson, the running back, looked fantastic. They've got great wide receivers in Dotson and McLaurin. Things can be looking up for the Reds, for the Commanders. My prediction for the game, I'm going to favour the away team, the Bills. Got to go with the better team, in my opinion. But I don't believe that they're going to run away with it. I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be entertaining. But ultimately, I think Buffalo are going to drag this one away with a 27-21 win. So my final prediction will be the Buffalo Bills 27, Commanders 21. The first of the layer kickoffs takes us to Seattle, hosting Carolina. The away team, Carolina, have just come off a very disappointing home loss to the New Orleans Saints. Bryce Young's first home game in the NFL. I thought he was quite disappointing, to be honest. He turned the ball over, and he really, really struggled against the New Orleans defense, which arguably are a very good defense. So, I don't want to put too much criticism on Bryce Young. He's young, he's a rookie, so he's going to make them sort of mistakes. But He didn't look impressive to me, being the number 1 overall pick. But again, early days, he can only improve. You know, he's not used to playing these defenses, and things can only be positive. My concern for the Panthers is, you look at the wide receivers, they don't really have that elite wide receiver. You can't really say Thielen, Chark is elite, because they're not. And I think they're missing that piece. Seattle Seahawks, very, very impressive away win to the Detroit Lions. Not a big fan of Geno Smith, but he was fantastic. He really exploited that that Detroit secondary. He was fantastic. They thoroughly deserved that win. Granted, it was overtime. Got a bit nervy at the end, but he was fantastic. Kenneth Walker, fantastic. They've got great wide receiving weapons as well. Offense, could they carry this team to more victories? Who knows? My prediction for the game, I'm siding with the home team, the Seattle Seahawks. I do believe they're going to have too much firepower for the Carolina Panthers. I could see them winning quite comfortably in this one. So my final prediction will be Seattle 24, Carolina 17. The next game we're going to discuss is going to be the Dallas Cowboys traveling to the Arizona Cardinals. Could arguably we say at the moment the best team in the NFL are playing the worst team in the NFL in this matchup? Early days, possibly. I don't know. The traveling team, the Cowboys, 2 wins in a row, 2 convincing victories, blown away. We look very impressive. I'm a Cowboys fan, if you haven't already known. And we look very impressive defensive-wise. We look fantastic. And something I'm liking with Mike McCarthy as the offensive coordinator is he's simplifying the playbook for Dak Prescott. We're using the run game. We're using the short passing. He's not turning the ball over. And that's been my biggest criticism with him, making silly mistakes. We've got firepower all around. This could be our year. I'm not going to say it, though. I'm not going to get overhyped. It's just 2 games in. But granted, we're looking impressive. The Arizona Cardinals, wow, how unlucky were you? Everyone thought it was done and dusted at halftime. And they just folded second half. Just couldn't get anything going. Was it more the Giants' momentum or Arizona bottling it? Wow. No one saw that coming at halftime. Got to give the Giants credit, but Arizona, you bottled it. Joshua Dobbs showed bits and bobs. He's not a franchise quarterback, let's be honest here. I do still think Arizona are tanking for that number 1 pick for the quarterback next year. But yeah, that was a disappointing loss, wasn't it? My prediction for the game, I mean, can't really call it bias. I think everyone would say I think Dallas are going to win very, very comfortably. I can't see Arizona really threatening our defense too much. I think Dallas is going to win 2 to 3 scores. I think it's going to be a nice, easy game for Dallas. I can't really say much more. It's just going to be annihilation for them, isn't it, really? My prediction, I can't really say too much more in the game. I'm just going my prediction. I think Dallas are going to win 31-7. So, final score, Dallas 31, Arizona 7. The final of the late afternoon game sees the Chicago Bears travel to the Kansas City Chiefs. Chicago Bears fans, are you panicking? Is the Justin Fields experiment over? What do you think? I really would love to know your opinions if you're listening, Bears fans. Is it the play calling, or is it just Fields' mechanisms? Is he just not good enough as a quarterback? And it sure be a real shame if this is the end. I mean, granted, you're going to give him a few more games, but what can they do? Please, Bears fans, if you're listening, please comment. What do you think? I'm concerned for him. They look poor again. What's going on? Kansas around away to Jacksonville, not an easy place to go to. Travis Kelce was back. Offense took a while to get going, but they scored enough to get away from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Grinding probably the biggest letdown game of the week for many people, but got the win. Just slowly, just starting to see more now, especially with Chris Jones back on the defense. They're picking up. They're picking things up. Mahomes will get his chemistry going with Kelce again. Kelce obviously wasn't 100%, but he's obviously massive and he's integral to that offense. And I think moving forward, that'll be fine. My thoughts on the game's pretty one-sided affair. I think Kansas is going to win this quite comfortably. I'm really hoping for a Justin Fields game as well, but I can't see it happening. I think Kansas is going to hit 30 on them at least, and it's just going to be a long day for the Bears. So my final prediction is going to be Kansas 34, Chicago 20. The Sunday night game takes us to the Raiders, who are hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The traveling team, the Steelers, have just come off a very, very tense home win to the Cleveland Browns. Granted, carried by the defense, I must say, but a win's a win in a group that's tough. You need every win you can get in your division rivals. Fair play, well done, congratulations to the Steelers. The Raiders, on the other hand, they got blown out. They looked awful at the Bills. Josh Jacobs, what's going on? I need you in my fantasy team as well. What's going on? Devontae Adams leaving the game with concussion, although the reports were at the moment that he should be good to go for Sunday Night Football. But granted, it's not going to be the easiest games against the Pittsburgh secondary. They're very, very impressive. It's going to be a very, very, very long night for both teams, I must say. I'm not impressed with Kenny Pickett either. Could this be a defense carrying a defense to the line? Who knows? I think my prediction for the game, I'm going to go for the Raiders. I think they're just going to have enough firepower to pull off the win. It's not the best of games for me on the primetime Sunday night. If you like your defensive battles, this could be the one for you. But no, I think the Raiders are going to have too much for the Steelers being at home. Granted, if it was at Pittsburgh, I probably would have sided with the Steelers. I'm just going to go with the home team this one. It's going to be pretty ugly, but I'm going to go for a Raiders 20, Steelers 16. The first of the Monday night game sees us at Tampa Bay, who are hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia 2-0. Looks very impressive on the ground. DeAndre Swift take a bow. Looked fantastic. Minnesota did not know what to do with that run game. Granted, we saw on the sidelines the Brown and Hurts debate. I think obviously Brown being a bit frustrated they were running the ball, but hey, you're winning. Stop moaning. Your time will come at some point. But no, they looked impressive. They can get the run game going with Jalen Hurts, Brown, Smith, Goddard, Swift. Wow, what an offense. Again, they get the run game going. It's going to free up these single man coverages on the outside. They're going to have their chances. But they look very, very impressive on the offense. Defense, fantastic too. They look legit. And I think they're going to be a threat this year moving forwards. Tampa Bay is probably the surprise package so far this year. Who would have thought they'd be 2-0? Led by Baker Mayfield, who's looking impressive. He's looking tidy. He's doing the mechanics that he knows works for him. And I think simplifying it for him is making things much easier. Despite the defense playing well too, which obviously helps. But he's finding these wide receivers. Evans looking fantastic. They're building a great chemistry together. And I was quite impressed with Rashad White as well this week. If they can sustain that run game, Evans and Godwin are going to be for a good year this year. But no, I look thoroughly impressed with him. But my thoughts of the game, unfortunately, I think for the Tampa Bay, this is where your unbeaten run comes to an end. It's going to be a tough one against Philadelphia. Obviously, Jalen Hurts and the boys coming to town. But again, I don't think they're going to run away with it. I think it's going to be close. But ultimately, I think Philly are just going to have enough to win the game. So my prediction is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles 23, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20. The final game of the week sees the LA Rams travelling to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams have been quite impressive this year, to be honest. Granted, I thought they kept with the San Francisco 49ers as much as they could do. I thought San Fran were going to blow them out early, but they kept with them. At one point, they were in the lead. They're quite impressive. They've got this new wide receiver, Puka, whatever his name is. Sorry if I've butchered that. I do apologise, Rams fans, but you know what I'm about. They've got Kyron Williams at the running back. They look rejuvenated. They look like they're having fun. Obviously, with that Cup as well. And they're scoring points. So with Cup coming back, this could be one of the best offenses we're going to see this year in terms of scoring points. But fortunately, they just fell a bit short. But no, Rams fans should be pretty impressed so far with what they've seen. Bengals, on the other hand, biggest underachievers this year. What is going on? Joe Burrow injured. Defense has just gone missing. Can't get the ball to chase. What's going on? I do believe that injury is still hampering Burrow, but they look awful. Very, very disappointing this year. A lot of people were tipping them to get to the Super Bowl. At the moment, I've been very concerned. You're 0-2 in the group. That's a hard group to get out of. But If you've got a quarterback like Joe Burrow, wide receivers are Chase Higgins, Mixon, you're more than capable of turning it around. And it's got to start this week. Granted, at the time of recording, we're not too sure what is going on with Joe Burrow's injury, but we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, I'm going to go with my predictions. If he's playing, I think there's going to be points in this game. It's going to be an entertaining game. But I think Cincinnati are going to get their first win of the season. I'm going to go for a Cincinnati 27, LA Rams 24.